We're going to look at Scott Pilgrim Volume 2 today because, so like last summer on the anniversary of Scott Pilgrim Volume 1, I did a live Instagram thing where I kind of flipped through it, but I thought I'd try a Twitch version of the same thing. Okay, what do I got here? I don't know where to begin. I thought I'd compare this because I redrew this for the second edition of the books. So this was the original first couple pages. I should have grabbed the actual black and white book, but this book came out in 2005, so I would have been working on it December 2004 into like April of 2005. I did these books pretty quick. Wow. Welcome to my PowerPoint, you guys. Maybe we can like flip back and forth between them. You can see like I totally redrew Ramona and I kind of just fixed up the background figures a little bit, but like this was like a really early unattractive drawing of Ramona, so I just thought I would make her cuter. Final is this one. So the file I could find for the book was a proof that has all these border things around it, but that's interesting. I don't want you to actually like read the book on my Twitch, but we're just gonna flip through it. But let's look at this one first. I was thinking we could look at this one, the original edition, and then compare it to the color edition, and also maybe we could watch the little animation that they did of this scene. There's the title spread. This was inspired by the title card from Bonk's Adventure, which is an old video game. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. Yeah, certainly color adds more character to it. It was just not economically feasible at the time. Like these were very small independent comics. We probably printed like between 1,000 and 2,000 copies. And they were very cheap. Like they were $12 or something like that. I wanted to keep them affordable. So if it had been color, like it would have bankrupted us and we never would have gotten past volume 1. This is like an early PDF of the book, which didn't have all this stuff in it. So yeah, you're looking at like vintage, never before seen PDF files. So the first scene in the book is a flashback to high school. I wanted to kind of play with people's expectations already. Like I wanted to kind of mess with the format a little bit, even though this is already only book 2 and like, at this point 500 people have ever seen the first book. But you got to dream big. So I kind of started to expand the world, like Godfather 2 style, go into a big flashback. Scott goes to high school, he moves to a new town, and he makes some new friends, and one of them ends up being Kim Pine. We're like 10 pages in and like, oh wait, this is why we're seeing this. They're partners in class or something. He draws her a sheep. I always like the sheep scene. How do I go about planning the panels? It's a good question. I scanned some thumbnails. I'm assuming they've never really been seen anywhere. But yeah, so you can see like this is like the early roughs of what would happen in the book. So before this stage there is a script, and I meant to copy the script over here and I forgot. But just imagine, oops, what happened? Imagine for yourself a script that's mostly just dialogue, and then also on the script I do like little like the panel layouts. I'll just do like a blank panel layout, but I'll just kind of think to myself like, where does the dialogue go? What is going to be the layout? So I'll just like be drawing these lines. So yeah, on the side of the script you'll see like a bunch of little tiny diagrams like that. Oh, there's the opening spread. I didn't realize that was on here. This location was just drawn from memory, but it's Toronto Transit stop. I think it's called Christie. I think the stop is Christie. And it's a big park called the Christie Pits. And I remember waiting in the rain at this bus stop. Anyway, let's... the two schools are called St. Joel's and Benvie Tech. And they're named after the two lead guys in this band called Thrush Hermit that I was super into in high school. In this version, we changed the lettering. You can see like this big title. I just wanted to keep it more consistent in the color editions. They were all totally different in the black and white. Like each book had its own kind of graphic design identity. Yeah, the coloring rules. This is colored by Nathan Fairbairn. But actually, now that I think of it, we should look at the video before we do this. The animation, Scott Pilgrim versus the animation. So this was done on Adult Swim in 2010, like when the movie was coming out. It was kind of like a promotional thing. So you guys can't hear anything. I don't know why that's happening today. Streaming audio is difficult. Who knew? Well, I'll just narrate it then. I'll commentary it. Michael Cera did the voice of Scott. And we got Mae Whitman to do the voice of Lisa because Mae Whitman is this really accomplished voice actress. She was Katara in Avatar, among many other things. Yeah, the animation was done by Titmouse. It was literally just based on the comic, as far as I know. I mean, clearly it looks just like the comic. It has almost all the same dialogue. So this whole flashback is kind of like a big River City Ransom, or it builds up to a big River City Ransom homage. River City Ransom was one of my favorite Nintendo games. And then we have this like bad guy who's kind of like a proto Gideon, and then we kind of like don't find out why that is until towards the end of the series. Yeah, River City Ransom is on the Nintendo Switch online NES thing, so you can play it to this day. It's a lot like the Scott Pilgrim game. But yeah, so this whole sequence in the book was like it's like a very quick, almost like a recap of the first book, but with different events. But it's like has the same structure. Like it's all very normal, and then it just like kind of goes crazy for like 2 seconds at the end. Did I get worried about using the name Sonic and Knuckles? I didn't get worried about that one specifically because those are just words. I don't know. They probably have it trademarked, but I mean, so I wasn't super worried about anything because it was like a tiny black and white comic, and I only thought like 600 people would ever see it. So I kind of just did whatever I wanted, and that's not the smartest move. I think I was lucky that like the movie did happen, and I don't know. I feel like that helped smooth over any problems that might have cropped up in that regard. Yeah, so that was all based on this little stretch of comics, like 20, maybe like 30 something pages. The Ben Vitek boys came and kidnapped Kim. It's all this like elaborate power fantasy basically. And then Scott kisses Kim, and there's this like very quick fractured like flashback montage. It's the Veruca Salt poster, and no doubt it's just like yeah, at the end they start a band, and and it's all kind of like based on my high school. Like I don't know, my little sister was like kind of like the rock star of our high school, and I like learned to play guitar to play backup for her. And I was like 3 years older, but that's how I started playing guitar was with my little sister. So that's kind of like, and it was called Lunchapalooza at our school. So they would have these like little concerts during lunch hour because we had a cafeteria with like a stage, cafetorium as they called it. And then everyone always asks about this car panel, but it's like, oh god damn it! Every time I touch this thing, it just like scrolls away. This was like a specific homage to the movie Say Anything, where it has like this exact scene where they kind of like lose their virginity in the back of a car, and there's like a song playing. So it also was intended to kind of like add to the unreality of the whole thing. Like Scott is kind of mixing up his memories of River City Ransom and of Say Anything all into this thing. So you just don't really know, like, is it something he really remembers, or does he just remember like a version of it that he saw in a movie? Is this how he kind of like processes his life? Anyway, and then this, like, people pointed out later that this is a lot like it's going to end up being a lot like Final Fantasy VII. He like remembers it one way, and then later we have a different version of the same panel with a different person there. So that was a little bit of an unconscious Final Fantasy homage. I just love Final Fantasy so much; it's like in my soul. And then like I was really happy with how Ramona looked here, and this is obviously after I drew that first opening page. So I'm really glad I got to redraw her. She looked so much cuter on these pages. And then we get to Wallace. So like Wallace was really kind of the instant breakout character of the first book. So I always wanted to include a lot of Wallace. Wallace is based on my old roommate, Chris. And on this newspaper, you start to see like Lucas Lee. I would always draw these dumb ads on things. Like this one says, "Not enough people are buying beer." I guess that's always the case. So I think the color for this was a little bit like, so the animation had already been done. So I told Nathan to look at the animation, and I think he kind of just built off of that. Like I actually gave color notes to the animators because it was a little off at first. Oh, I forgot this panel, the Kissing in the Rain panel, is also an homage to Say Anything. It just, this whole like kind of sequence is a little bit like, I love that movie Say Anything. So yeah, Nathan gives the dream sequences these like really interesting dreamy colors. Also for the color editions, we kind of like gave each book its own color scheme. So volume 2 is like the blue volume, so you see a lot of blues and purples. I always like this scene. I don't remember what inspired it. I think I saw something similar in a manga somewhere, but like just the panels get smaller and smaller and smaller as the bus drives away and as the insults continue. I feel like people ask about this sign over here too, but this was a real sign that was on this wall in real life. This was just like, I think I took a photo, and I really started getting into photo reference in these first couple volumes of Scott Pilgrim, since I was living in Toronto at the time. Oh, and then I can show you this phone booth. I redrew the phone booth. It's like the thing that I always mention that I'm the proudest of, the phone booth. But look how crappy the phone booth looks originally. I was just like, I didn't have reference. I was just rushing it out. You know, when I did this one, like Google image search existed. So I just found a Toronto phone booth and I drew it for real. This scene is like in the movie beat for beat too. There's a lot of like jokes about people being psychic and stuff, and then it kind of becomes true, I guess. So this is the Sonic Boom scene. Sonic Boom was a big record store. I mean, it still is. I think they moved into Honest Ed's, and then Honest Ed's got demolished and they had to move back out. But yeah, we used to go there all the time and buy CDs, cheap CDs. You can see Smashing Pumpkins, Melancholy right here. I don't know if any of this other stuff is anything. CL Misk. Oh, see that? I don't know, if you're not like a record store browser, you would know that like this is this means they're like a really obscure band, because they're like they're in a very specific like miscellaneous category, but they don't have their own section. Yeah, so Clash of Demonhead was my first Nintendo game. It's where this talking time above my head came from. But the band name is I mean, The Clash. The Clash is a huge, you know, important band, and I thought it'd be funny if this band incorporated the name of a more famous band into their own name. Because the game is called Clash at Demonhead, not The Clash at Demonhead. So they're The Clash at Demonhead. You gotta put the pause in. This is the part where they break up, which is also in the movie, kind of beat for beat. Immediately upon declaring her love, he dumps her. Because he's a cool guy and we love him. I looked at the thumbnails and they were different. I thought that was interesting. Love. It looks a little different. You know, it's just different. It's a different layout. But I found that I redid the layout after, I don't know how much later. They're not dated, but I just realized it wasn't working, or it could have been more impactful, and I redid it. This one focused more on Scott, it feels like. And this one just kind of bounces back and forth between them and kind of is more simple. Oh, and this scene actually changed too. Hat off in this scene. Interesting. I was really happy with this scene, I remember. Here's the color version. And then this scene is like so powerful in color. My God. Nathan's so talented. It really pops. This might not be the final file. There might have been some corrections after this proof, but it's good, fun to look at early proofs. Yeah, and then Edgar did this scene in the movie too, like with the sliding. You like see the knives like slides out of the frame, and then Ramona slides into the frame. That's really cool too. But I was really happy with how this layout kind of gets that across. And he goes from like bummed to like happy in, you know, 2 pages. Because he's a great guy and we love him. And then we go back to the band. This is the first time we see the band, right? So, and this scene is also in the movie. Although they plussed the line. Because in this he just says, maybe you'll meet my new girlfriend soon. But they did new girlfriend. I wrote this note. This is Beck, M-O-M. M-O-M, like that was like an emoticon that we used to use. And it was like bowing. It was like 2 hands and like a head, like you're bowing to the person. This is like an homage to the comic Beck, which was ongoing at the time. And it's like it's a comic about an aspiring rock band, a Japanese comic. But they drew really good guitar panels in Beck. So I was just like, that was a note to myself that this is going to be a Beck homage. This is going to be a good guitar drawing. And it turned out okay. It's like probably my first good guitar drawing, or first time trying. I really wanted a Fireglow Rickenbacker. I kept seeing one in the window of this guitar store, but it was like $3,000 or something, like way more money than I would ever have had at the time. So I gave it to my character instead. Yeah, it's funny like how much of this is in the movie, and then the movie really affects not just your memory of it, but my memory of it too. I think that's why it helps to go back to black and white editions.